Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back through daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're going to be talking about Quant Network, or QNT. Listen, I've told you guys for the longest time that this is going to be an absolute giant in the making, and we're going to go do some deeper dives on some past things in the past on QNT, as well as kind of talk about some present things and really kind of talk to you guys about what's about to happen with QNT, because we are about to have the last wave 5 for Bitcoin. We're going to have the topping point for Bitcoin here very soon, but obviously we have to range for a little bit in time until we do see our official bottom being made before that last ride to the top. And then of course altcoins really have a fun time, and I do think that QNT is going to be one of those altcoins. I know that it's already made significant gains already, but considering the fact that it has a supply and demand shortage right now, I think it's going to be one of those that really kind of makes some leeway, especially as we do kind of range on here. Now, before we fully jump into this video, I just want to ask, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely hit that like, subscribe, and turn notifications on button. If you guys do want more content, my website is having a sale right now on the Ultimate Crusader Trading Bundle Pack for 20% off. It includes everything on the website as well as all feature products for free, so definitely go check out NCashOfficial.com. But with that being said, let's talk about QNT. So obviously, listen, we know the base points behind this. We know the circulating supply. We know the total supply. I'm more so, I'm not even focused on the price right now. Honestly, like, the price is sitting at around the point that it's been for the last couple of days. In fact, on the 7-day span, we've just been in this solid sort of downward trend, but pretty much almost at our bottom stage, which I've always said is pretty much around the point that we pretty much ranged on last month, which is around the $240 mark. I don't think that we go too much lower from here. I honestly think that we're just kind of in this accumulation point. Now, in terms of the holders tab, we are almost at 40,000 holders. In fact, I actually think that we hit 40,000 holders. I do want to show you guys something that's actually pretty interesting. So right now, this is from 7 days ago, so 1 week. The tokens held on exchanges was about 1.5% or 1.47%, and the amount of wallets was about 40,287. Okay, now the current tokens held on it is only about 1.4%, so it dropped a decimal point in just 7 days, and we're pretty much, I mean, this is just going from I think the 7th, so this actually isn't even fully updated just yet. But in terms of the wallets, we are seeing wallets kind of sit stable. There hasn't been too much of a change. I don't even think that there has been a change. So yeah, I mean, this might just not be updated. Yeah, this hasn't been updated since the 1st. I think that this actually kind of updates almost, yeah, updates here randomly, as you guys do see on the chart here. But overall, we're still seeing the supply being held on exchanges pretty much getting shorter and shorter in terms of less and less supply. Now, I've always discussed that this will most likely be one of those assets that gets a massive supply and demand shortage, and I think it's going to be one of those assets that a lot of people are going to be pretty much buying at some point in time, especially during the bear market, for an example, because I know a lot of people have been having plans to jump into this during the bear market. But again, I think that this is going to be one of those assets where a lot of people are going to find it hard to get any sort of supply or any sort of volume from it, because there's not going to be a lot of volume left on exchanges at that point in time. Now, let's talk about a few things about QNT. Obviously, if you were watching this video, you know what QNT is, but what makes QNT different for, a lot of people? They don't really understand this. This is more so talking to, individuals who are new to QNT, or just, don't know about it overall. Now, we're enterprise-oriented, making DLTs accessible to enterprise devs, benefit from interoperability through a single API that's fit for the future. Their competition really isn't any other asset in this space. There's really not any other asset doing what they are doing. In fact, listen closely to this video.
Quant is an enterprise-focused company. Most of our competition are based in the kind of the cryptocurrency, blockchain, DeFi subculture echo chamber. They're not really looking at the needs of enterprise developers. They're not really looking at the needs of IT departments. They're looking at a way to revolutionize the world in quite a naive fashion. So what we're doing is breaking out of that bubble and taking this technology mainstream.
So again, when we're talking about who's their competition, like I said, there's really nobody out there. They are pretty much focused on actually getting out of the base point use cases that everybody's focused on. And that is why interoperability in terms of Q&T is growing at such a rapid pace. Even going back again to around this point in time, right? This was February of 2021, right? Again, look at this. Mind-boggling volumes will flow through the network of networks with participants like central banks, financial institutions, governments, financial infrastructures, trade consortia as well. The list goes on, right? And this is, again, what I've been talking about in terms of the network of networks. It's going to connect pretty much everything to one another. Cross-network interoperability, access through ODAP, GWs, right? Interoperate existing networks, complement existing systems, identify, route, and find digital assets, issuers, and custodians. Regulatory access for compliance, cross-border and cross-network, network-to-network for private and controlled transactions. And again, look at all of the major markets that this is going to be in. Just alone the trade finance network, that's a huge market by itself, right? So obviously, the future is bright for something like Q&T. And when we're talking about these massive bridges that are happening throughout these markets, we always look at many of these assets that are the leading names: XRP, R3, XLM, right? And again, look at where all the connections lead back to. It's Q&T. So when we're talking about, interledger protocol, we're talking about hyperledger, we're talking about, all of these plug and play sort of services that these major banks and financial institutions could use on a day-to-day basis, it all comes down to Overledger, right? Because it's going to be the plug and play sort of interoperability standpoint, or I should say standard, if you're actually looking at it like that, for these banks and these major markets to really kind of utilize on a day-to-day basis. Okay? And again, here's the blockchain world, here's the broader DLT world, and of course, here's the Q&T world, where everything could essentially call each other, talk to each other, gossip to each other, and pretty much plug and play with each other. Chain, I just mentioned today on Twitter actually, is 570 plus banks by itself. Okay, and of course we know that Q&T is already working with XRP with the Digital Pound Foundation. Why do you think that is, right? It's because Q&T is offering one-of-a-kind interoperability with these major financial institutions, CBDCs in general. The major problem with the future of finance, the future of payments, the future of pretty much everything, right, is interoperability. They don't understand a solving point for interoperability through all these DLTs and payment systems, but now we do know what could solve it all. And I've always said it for the longest time on what Q&T is actually building is so undervalued and so overlooked. Even at its current price, I still say we are still so early. Okay? If you're looking at fast gains, if you're looking at, making the most amount of revenue right now, it's not going to be Q&T. Okay? What's the base point? Where could we lead to by the end of this bull run? Possibly maybe $2,000. Overall, my base point is around $1,000 to $1,500 by the end of this bull run. But that's not my end goal. My end goal is Q&T being at the figures that Bitcoin is already at. And that is what this asset actually is if you look at it from an overall scale standpoint and an overall technical standpoint in terms of their fundamentals and the overall use cases, okay? To help understand the scale of Six Digital Exchange, take a look at the project Helvetia, right? POC between the Bank of International Settlements, BIS, and Swiss National Bank, SNB, and Six themselves on settling tokenized assets in a central bank money using DLT. Okay, and here's the breakdown of that, settling tokenized assets in a central bank, money, like they said, right? And here's the DLT. Again, distributed ledger technologies are huge. I've always discussed that. Trading and settlement of tokenized assets. Again, I've always said that tokenized assets are going to take the world by storm. Tokenization of pretty much everything is on hands right now. It's pretty much always in talks. And again, here's SMB, and again, wholesale CBDCs, tokenized assets, all that kind of stuff through SDX. For use cases, investigated issuance of wholesale CBDC, redemption of wholesale CBDC, delivery versus payment settlement of tokenized assets against wholesale CBDC, transfer of wholesale CBDC or wholesale CBDC payment. And again, through all of this, right, we're talking about the Swiss RTGS system. All of this is going to have to be somehow interoperable as well. And we already know that 6 is actually working with QNT. Also, when we're talking about this, we look at tokenization money services with CBDCs and commercial applications, which again leads us back to MIT, which we just talked about on the base point just the other day. But overall, when we're talking about tokenization and we're talking about tokenization of money solutions and all of this kind of stuff, again, this is settling tokenized assets and pretty much allowing them to pretty much move between these major DLTs as well. And again, that all comes back down to, guess what? Interoperable with each other. Being able to talk with one another and being able to scale at massive rates. This is the end goal here, right? This all comes back down to the overall network of networks, QNT. Now within this, I do want to talk to you guys about a few other things, right? What's the difference of being able to run an application on one chain compared to run cross-platform and cross-use case applications on many chains? Corda, Hyperledger, XRP Ledger, Ethereum, Stellar, Bitcoin, Quorum, Cardano, network effects plus utility and users. QNT's the upgrade. Again, Oracle, Binance, Microsoft, Amazon, EBSI, LA Chain, right? If you understand how huge this actually is, because when we're talking about connecting all these DLTs onto one massive DLN or allowing them to all communicate with one another, that is a huge pretty much upgrade or an update to the overall issuance of tokens, assets, pretty much for use across all of these DLTs and connecting all of these major networks together. First off, just alone, Corda and Hyperledger themselves have a ton of connections with one another. I've always discussed how when you're looking at these assets in terms of which DLT is better than the other, there is no better DLT than one another. They are all going to have a piece of the pie, but QNT itself is going to make up for the entire pie that's going to combine all these DLTs. If you look at these DLTs and these major networks, these are all the ingredients that go into what QNT is actually essentially making, right? So when we're talking about all of these and allowing them to pretty much run with one another and pretty much communicate with one another all on one massive platform, QNT's Overledger is that platform, the API plug and play. I've always discussed this. All right. In fact, check out introducing Overledger 2.05, interoperable stablecoins, NFT, and DeFi ecosystems with blockchain payments. This is going to be massive. I've always discussed something where pretty much everything will run on one network and you won't really have to worry about interoperability anymore. QNT is solving this, and I don't even see how people can't see the value or how much money will actually flow over Overledger itself. All right. So again, as a key milestone to bridge institutional and enterprise ecosystems with stablecoins, DeFi, NFTs, and popular ERC20 and ERC721 digital assets for clearing and settlement. Pretty cool, right? Check out everything that's included in this. First off, look at all of these ERC20 tokens. We're talking about some major assets here. Now, the use cases are clearing and settling between different digital assets types and stablecoins, collateralizing NFTs with stablecoins such as USDC, DAI, and USDT, multi-DLT DeFi payments by combining lending and staking products with new settlement options. And again, here are those supported tokens. Look at all of them, right? First off, we're seeing the few that jump out to me are like Link, VeChain as well. We're seeing a few other ones: Wrapped Filecoin, Hex, Avi, Telcoin, Zelica as well. There's a ton of assets listed here that have a ton of value behind them. What's funny about this is that when we're talking about the connections here and we're looking back at QNT and we're like, well, it's at a $3.1 billion market cap, it's almost laughable in a sense because, this is something that I would foresee being a $1 trillion asset at some point in time, at least when we're talking about the major connections with a lot of these financial institutions and banks in general. But I've always discussed the fact that a lot of these assets will get overlooked just because a lot of people don't actually understand what they're doing. To understand what QNT is actually doing, you need to do viable research on, first off, distributed ledger technologies and what is actually happening behind the scenes in terms of, and I'm going to quote the XRP army here, but the flip being switched, right? Which is digitization and tokenization of everyday life through, the ways of finance, payments, transactional data flows, and all that kind of stuff, right? QNT is solving major problems. QNT, in my mindset, is the heart of the future banking systems, the future, financial institution systems as well. the amount of money that will be settled over QNT's network of networks, because this is going to be connected to pretty much every DLT out there that everybody's so bullish on. For an example, I'm very bullish on XRP. Me owning XRP and not owning QNT is it's just like me stabbing myself in the back. There's no reason why I shouldn't own QNT if I'm owning XRP. The Digital Pound Foundation is a clear insight on what is going to be happening with QNT. And I've already said this actually just today alone, right? I said, take a second to realize just how big QNT is going to be in a few years. QNT is providing interoperability solutions for CBDCs alongside XRP. Also, 570 plus banks connected with QNT through the partnership with SIA. Do you not see what's happening behind the scenes? And I don't think a lot of people are actually seeing it. Most people who do, most people who are holding QNT obviously do as well. This is not a short-term play. I would hold QNT for as long as you possibly can. Don't overstretch your investment. Invest what you could afford to lose, invest what you could afford to forget, come back to it, and I could almost guarantee you that when you come back to it, it's going to be worth at least 10x, what you invested. So with that being said, I hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, to notifications on. If you guys want more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.